Okay, great. So thank you, Eva. Thank you for taking out some time to do this interview with me today. And before we move forward, could you please quickly just introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, so Eva here, actually Canadian born, Chinese, and I moved to LA about 4 years ago. Started a company called Launch Pop. And Launch Pop is basically a venture studio lab where we help very high potential founders who really want to create a new space in the market to launch a product online. And so what we do is we do everything from like research to website building to growth and to helping them fundraise for their first round.
Okay, that's amazing. And what kind of product is it actually like? Should it be a digital product or should it be like a physical shippable product?
Yeah, so a lot of the things that we do to help a brand grow can, help a digital product.
Mhm.
Uh, we build communities, we build a brand, we build a website. Digital products can, benefit from our services, but our bread and butter is physical products that you can ship online,
Okay.
and there's a shopper trying to understand what is the benefit of what you're offering, and there's a community that you're trying to build
Mm-hmm.
surrounding your product benefit. So that's our bread and butter.
Okay, that's interesting. And the physical product could be anything, or does it have to be like a category, like for example, related to fashion or something like that?
It can be anything, but I will say our expertise are in the health and wellness space.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, food, supplements,
Oh,
uh,
interesting.
anti-aging,
Yeah.
um, skincare.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. And what motivated you to start this company?
So I'm actually a designer at heart. I did
Okay.
go to a university in Toronto called OCAD,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of like the Parsons equivalent in Canada.
Yeah.
And being a designer at heart, I care about, you know, creating things that are meaningful. And um, I've I've built companies for the past 10 years of my life, and
Oh,
my
wow.
previous company, reached a 20 mil valuation, and I didn't feel excited.
Okay.
I think I had a realization that, I had to live more than just for money.
Mm-hmm.
I had to live to build meaning. And so, meaning for me, I discovered is, meaningful products, creating culture,
Mm-hmm.
um, and innovation. And so, um, how do I do this at scale? And so I realized, I can do this if I help founders.
Mm-hmm.
And an early stage uh, company is very scary for first time and even, second time founders,
Mm-hmm.
because e-commerce is very different.
Yeah.
Launching a product is very different. Creating culture surrounding your innovation is very hard.
Yeah.
Um, and so because I've had so many experiences launching and launching, going from zero to one,
Mm-hmm.
um, I I decided to share my process and turn it into something that's very ambiguous and scary and chaotic into
Mm-hmm.
a systematic uh, playbook.
And that's really nice. And how many companies in total have you founded?
So I've founded three
Okay.
personally. Launch Up is my third,
Mm-hmm.
but helping other people go from zero to one and get funding,
Mm-hmm.
um, and in the past 4 years has been over 40 companies.
Wow.
I've lost a lot of hair.
Uh-huh. Okay. That's amazing. Like 40 is like a really big number. Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest, not all of them are, unicorns.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we do have a lot of amazing case studies that have led us to, building our name in America. Um,
Okay.
we don't do any marketing about
Hmm.
Launch Pop. Everything's word of mouth.
Okay,
And so, yeah, very, very proud of the case studies that we have.
that's great. And how about your schooling? Where did you go to school and what was your major?
So I I may look young, but I am not that young.
Okay.
Um, School was a long time ago, and I did go to OCAD,
Hmm.
Ontario College of Art and Design, and surprisingly, I studied illustration and design. Um,
Okay.
and this is, where you're like using watercolor, you're
Yeah.
painting. I didn't know a single thing about business at
Mm.
all. And I actually learned it through like sneaking into the campus next door, um,
Okay.
at Ryerson.
Okay.
And yeah.
Mhm. Okay, great. And how about like when did you actually think about starting a company? Did the entrepreneur life chose you or did you choose it?
I think it was one thing that led to the other.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in my third year of college doing illustration, and
Mm-hmm.
I did like a 10-hour piece overnight. I was bloodshot, 8:30 a.m. at my lecture.
Okay.
And I started to think, what am I doing? Like 10 hours to produce one piece, and this
Mm-hmm.
world is moving to the opposite path of what I'm doing. It's becoming more digital, not
Mm-hmm.
analog.
Yeah.
In order for me to paint just as fast as technology is demanding me to, it's impossible, and it's very like sad.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
um, and so I decided I needed to branch out and really understand other parts of life. And so I actually went to U of T and joined a student group,
Mm-hmm.
and that student group was started by engineers,
Mm-hmm.
and they wanted to bridge the gap between an engineer and launching a company because they
Mm-hmm.
have great ideas. So, how do you
Yeah.
actually build a company out of your great idea?
Mm-hmm.
And so I actually joined as a designer, building the posters and attending the monthly events.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the speakers there, he was speaking about building an amazing team for your startup. And I had met him, and he was at the time building a beauty subscription box with a
Okay.
team of 8 developers, all men,
Okay.
selling makeup products, getting
Uh-huh.
women to join the subscription,
Mm-hmm.
and they needed a graphic designer. So I joined
Mm-hmm.
as the first woman on the team.
Yeah.
And one thing led to the other, and became a designer. And then they needed to understand, how do we, choose the right products to curate the experience? How do we talk to people through customer service? How do we do this and that? And so I wore multiple hats and
Yeah.
gained a lot of trust with the founder at the time. And so after that, we sold the company and started another company, which was my past company. And so I became a co-founder there.
Mm,
Um,
okay.
and as you can see, like with multiple hats and
Yeah.
the growth that a startup brings, then you transform into a whole different person.
Yeah, definitely. And you have helped, so many different companies and so many different people start their own businesses. What would you say is a basic skill set required by a person to start a business on their own?
Skill set, I think
Hmm.
being a sponge
Okay.
is really important, because you may head into building a business knowing finances, right?
Hmm.
Like, your numbers, and you know, like, oh, you have to maintain your margins here, you have to get a certain type of, I don't know, like cogs to make things work. Um, but that's all just mechanics. That's just
Hmm.
all like looking at data. But how do you actually improve it? It's like the execution. And there's so many things in the business to do, like advertising, sales,
Yeah.
product development. And so I think what's really important is being a sponge,
Hmm.
and learning really fast, learning really quickly, and applying your learnings. Why? Because once you've learned and you've built it, you have to actually learn again and then pivot and iterate.
Yeah.
And so it never stops.
Definitely. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a continuous cycle. I agree with you on that one. And so, like 2021 has been like a really 2020 and 2021. It's going to be like a difficult year for people, right, due to the pandemic. How difficult would you say it is for newcomers to start a business this year?
Um, Financially, I think, the pandemic has been very difficult on a lot of people
Mhm.
because um, lifestyles and people's behaviors are shifting,
Yeah.
right? They're forced to shift to stay safe, or they're forced to shift because um, we we see value in different ways now. Like
Mm.
you spend more time at home, so you therefore cook more. Um, so I think pandemic was hard because there's a lot of shifting happening,
Mhm.
and the shift results in some money loss in businesses, but also the money is reallocated in
Yeah.
different areas. And so if I want to approach like the pandemic and see opportunity, um, you should look at how behaviors are shifting,
Mhm.
and change your mindset and see opportunity.
Mhm.
Um, and there's a lot of opportunity here
Yeah.
for newcomers, a lot of opportunity for new offerings, new services, new products that tailor to our newfound uh, like behaviors.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, while starting your company, your first company, what would you say were some of the difficulties that you faced during that time?
um, so my past company, we grew from 4 team members, 4 co-founders,
Hmm.
to 50 team members, three
Oh,
cities,
wow.
all in 1 year, and
Amazing.
reached like a 20 mil valuation within
Mhm.
our second year. So that was a rocket ship.
Yeah.
Um, and people will say, "Oh, you're making money. Like there should be no problems."
Mhm.
There's a lot of problems.
Yeah.
I think the biggest learning
Mhm.
that I've gained from that is culture.
Mhm.
Um, that if you don't have a strong culture, if the company is doing bad, if the company is doing good, that will break.
Yeah.
Um, and so when I started Launch Pop, this new company, I focused on culture a lot.
Mhm.
Uh, doesn't matter if the individual is very skilled at what
Mhm.
they're doing. If I this like sixth sense of mine that says that I don't think he or she will fit our culture and fit our like the quirks that we have,
Yeah.
um, we can't have this person.
Mm.
um, I always believe that the skill set can be trained, it could be learned and acquired over time if you have the right culture, right mindset and right drive.
Mhm.
So one of the like pieces in our culture that's really important at Launch Pop is this like obsession to learn very fast, because
Okay.
we owe it to our companies that we
Yeah.
help to be on
Mhm.
top of everything, on top of the trends, on top of new marketing tactics, and relay that.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really difficult to find people who actually fit the culture, right? So,
Sure.
do you do you have any like checklist or points which you make sure that they should, approve, clear those, and only then they will be able to move forward?
I think it's very hard to find culture fit when you have to overlay other things like their skill sets, um,
Mhm.
their location, their salary preferences. For me, I actually found it a lot easier when I just understood what the downfalls are if I'm prioritizing culture as number one.
Mhm.
Um, and how do we make up for the other parts of it is by, you know, I actually create a rigorous training program that's for 3 months for every single person that joins.
Mm.
I don't have quarterly performance reviews. I have them weekly for the first 3 months.
Okay. That's
So
interesting.
in order for them to do well, I have to set them up for success and actually dedicate my time to help them
Mm-hmm.
become successful, and be very clear about what the objectives are and how do you get there. Um, and if they can, pass the 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
it tells me they have the rigor to continue growing at that same pace.
Okay, wow, that's amazing.
I mean, it wasn't easy. I had to figure it out over a long, long
Mm-hmm.
period.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And apart from, training other people and working most of the time, what do you do when you're not working?
I do love cooking now.
Okay.
I recently picked up, sous vide machine, um,
Okay.
and because you can't eat, expensive food out there without, just doing a takeout version of it.
Mm,
We're recreating the experience at home. And so the sous vide machine is really cool because you can cook,
okay.
and um, not really be an expert, and the outcome is awesome.
Okay. That's nice. I'm not really sure what kind of machine is that. I haven't really heard about that one.
It's really cool because it's just like this like very like tiny device.
Uh-huh.
You you know you seal your meat,
Okay.
um, and then you put it in this water bath. So just like a pot of water, put
Mm-hmm.
your meat in it. That's like airtight sealed. And then you put your machine in the water, and it keeps the water at a certain temperature.
Mm,
So it cooks
okay.
the meat, but also it doesn't overcook it, and it cooks it at this same temperature for a longer period of time. And the result is, like the tissue is breaking down,
Mm-hmm.
the meat is cooking, but you can have all the control that you want in getting medium rare, medium, whatever you want. You just adjust the temperature.
Okay, I think I'm hungry now. Well,
Yeah.
that's nice. It's good to know that something like that exists. I'll check it out later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so while going through this, journey of creating companies and starting, all of these new startups, um, could you share an important lesson that you learned from life?
Yeah. Well, I don't know men, but
Okay.
um, I know for me, and a lot of my female friends,
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest lesson that I wish I knew earlier on,
Mm-hmm.
is that debt is not, um, a negative thing. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be negative.
Mm-hmm.
Having irresponsible debt, yes. Like you're continuously shopping for
Mm-hmm.
luxury bags when you don't have the means for it, that's
Mm-hmm.
irresponsible. But if you are going into debt because you need to, purchase a house, or you need to, um, invest in a company, or if you want to build a company,
Yeah.
um, or go for school. That's investing in yourself.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that debt is really healthy. And sometimes you have to go into it in order to unlock your potential.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I wish, that lesson I understood
Mm-hmm.
earlier on in my life. And so that I think I would have done things differently.
Okay.
Not be so scared to ask my friends for, hey, can I borrow 5K? Can I borrow 10K? Ask all my friends, because I believe that I can make it back in 1 year.
That's a good lesson, actually. Most people, including me, and I'm also, scared of going into debt because unless and until you don't have really a plan to pay that back and you're not confident enough that you can make it, then like things are a little bit, shaky, a little bit dicey. Like, should I move forward? Should I actually do this or do not? Shouldn't do
Mhm.
that. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that one. It
Yeah.
takes a little bit of courage to move forward in that one.
I mean, for anyone who's trying to raise money too, if
Mhm.
you are scared to go into debt yourself, why should
Mhm.
anyone go into debt for you?
Yeah, exactly. That's true. And what keeps you moving forward in life?
I think setting goals are very helpful, and goals beyond yourself are helpful too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, having a goal, for example, like mm, freeing my parents from their mortgage payments,
Mm-hmm.
um, or a goal to buy a house with your significant other, or your partner, your co-founder with you, like understanding what makes you happy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Once you understand that, then your sales targets have more meaning to it. Instead of saying, "Hey, let's
Yeah.
like make 10 mil this year," sales targets. Hey, you salesperson, do this. You have this KPI now, which is all very like non-meaningful, aggressive, and
Mm.
stressful. But if you just ask everyone on the team and your co-founder, like, what do you need to be happy? Just be real. Even if you need to go shopping every month to be happy, it
Mm-hmm.
can be selfish and superficial. Just be
Mm-hmm.
real. Um, and when you do that calculation, it doesn't actually cost that much
Mm-hmm.
to be happy. And so I think motivation is knowing, you know, what happiness is for you and attaching that dollar amount. And then every day at work, the work that you do, it's going towards unlocking some of those happiness goals.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really nice way to put it. And running these companies and being a CEO of multiple companies, what would you say is the best and worst part of being a CEO?
I think um, the word CEO,
Mm-hmm.
I hate it.
Okay.
I think it's just a manager of managers,
Uh-huh.
um, and you're the one thinking big, but you also have to think small as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I don't know. I guess like the worst part of it is like the title, um, and the best part of it is seeing the big picture, having the control,
Mm-hmm.
uh, to realize your dream. Like if you don't have investors involved, you can just realize your dream. But if you do have investors, that title is like a burden,
Mm.
as you have to, you know, manage your investors' expectations, but also turn that into happy execution with the team that you're managing below. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. And for 2021, do you have a pledge?
Do I have a
A pledge, an aim, or a goal for 2021?
like a motivational kind of?
It could be anything. It's different for person to person. Some people have like an aim to reach 1 million by the end of 2021 in
Mhm.
revenue, and some people they want to buy a house. So it's very different for
For
person to
sure.
person.
I think for me, I've realized I want to recognize when I'm stressed.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then do something about it. I think nothing matters until we have our health. Uh, you can't reach 10 million revenue unless you have your health.
Mm,
Uh, but if you reach 10 million, you don't have your health. 10 million is nothing.
that's true. That's true.
And so I think 2021 is going to be about health and being more aware of my stress levels, and by being aware, then I can take action to balance my mind and body.
Yeah, absolutely, and very well said about that one. Okay, so we have reached the rapid fire section of this interview. I'm going to ask you short questions.
Sure.
Please try to keep your answers short as well. And if you come across any question that you don't want to answer, you can say skip and I'll move on to the next one.
Mhm.
Okay, so first one is, are you an Android person or an iPhone person?
I vote
Okay, coffee or tea?
T.
What's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
Swipe through my iPhone messages.
Okay, we are all guilty of that. Three things no one knows about you.
Volleyball, um, chocolate,
Hmm.
um, eczema.
Okay. What's the craziest thing someone has done for you?
What's the craziest thing someone asked?
No, someone has done for you.
Oh, done for you.
Yeah.
My brother lending me $20,000 to launch Pop without any questioning.
Wow. Yeah, that is really big. That's great. What's the one thing that you would like to change about yourself?
Um, um, listen better.
Okay, that's nice. What's your spirit animal?
Bunny?
Okay, that's cute. That's nice. A rumor about you that you wish were true.
Millionaire?
Okay. Okay. That's an interesting one. What's the easiest way to piss you off?
Shaking your leg.
Okay.
No,
Like during a meeting or just anywhere in public?
like anywhere, aggressively
Okay.
shaking your leg and table and
Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah, I can understand that one. What's the one thing that you own that you wish you didn't?
um skip.
Okay. Um, what is the one thing that you're most afraid of?
Spiders.
Okay. What's the most interesting thing you have in your purse or wallet?
Think.
Okay.
Skip.
Okay. According to you, what new technology will transform the future?
I think cryptocurrency will
Mm,
be very interesting.
yeah, even banks are entering into it now. Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. I agree with you on that one. Okay, so now you have to rate yourself from 1 to 10 on the following, 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest. So, first one is quick learner.
8.
Okay, book enthusiast.
5.
Okay, uh, as a leader.
Ooh. 6. Always
Okay,
room to grow.
okay, as a CEO.
6.
Okay,
Always room to grow.
as a friend.
Um, 8.
Okay, great. So, with that, we have reached the end of this interview. And before I let you go, I just have one more question for you. Could you introduce me to 3 other people who you think might be interested in doing an interview with me? And you don't have to think of the names right now. You can reach back to me later by email or LinkedIn. That's up to you.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, great. Sounds good. So thank you, Eva. Thank you for doing this interview with me. Thank you for sharing glimpses of your life, of your background on how you set up those companies, industries, and how you've made it big so far. So thank you for doing this with me today.
It was really fun. Thank you.
Okay, I'm glad you liked it. Thanks. Take care.